When it was time for them to go out, Julia sat beside Doha inside the Benz, but she could not relax. Her fingers kept touching each other, her legs kept shaking, and she kept stealing quick glances at him. Every time she looked at him, her heart beat faster. She remembered the mirror. She remembered Snake like the tail. She remembered the strange way he disappeared. But now, he looked normal. Too normal. He was smiling, handsome, calm, and acting like nothing happened. That alone made Julia more scared. Doha glanced at her. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. Julia swallowed hard and nodded quickly.
"Yes, I'm fine,"
she whispered. But she was not fine. Her mind was loud. Her thoughts were running up and down. She kept asking herself the same question. Did I really see a tail? Or was it my imagination? Doha kept driving quietly, and Julia's eyes kept going to his legs, his hands, his body. She wanted to be sure she wasn't sitting beside something dangerous. Then suddenly, Doha turned off the main road and entered a lonely path that led toward the forest. The road looked rough. Tall trees stood on both sides, and the wind made strange sounds as it blew across the bushes. Julia felt her chest tighten. Why? Why are we going this way? She asked softly. Doha smiled. It's a shorter route, don't worry. But Julia did worry. Her mind started shouting again. The car moved deeper into the forest area. Large trees covered the road like umbrellas. The sunlight hardly touched the ground. Bushes moved when small animals ran through them. Julia slowly moved closer to the door, her hand gently touching the door handle, just in case. Doha noticed again. You look tense, he said. No, I'm okay, Julia lied, forcing a smile. But the fear was already sitting inside her chest like a heavy stone. A few minutes later, Doha stopped the car suddenly. The car made a soft sound as it came to a halt. Julia's heart nearly jumped out of her body. Why? Why are we stopping? She asked in a shaky voice. Doha did not answer immediately. He sat still, looking straight ahead. Then, slowly, he turned his head and looked at Julia. His smile was calm, but something about it made Julia feel cold. He opened the door and stepped out. Julia froze. Doha walked slowly toward the thick part of the forest and stared into it like he was studying something deep inside. The wind blew his suit lightly. He stood there silently, like he was waiting for someone or something. Julia opened her door a little and looked around. Cars passed the road far away, but only one once in a long while. The forest was quiet, too quiet. She finally gathered courage. What are we doing here? She asked, her voice almost trembling. Doha turned to her with a wide smile. You know, he said calmly, I like this type of place. I love the peace here. I want to own a house in this kind of place someday. He lifted his hand and pointed toward the forest. Somewhere inside there, Julia's mouth opened in shock. She pointed immediately at the bush. Inside there? She asked. Doha nodded, still smiling. Julia shook her head quickly. Maybe you will be the only one who will come and stay here, she said. I won't. I'm scared already. Please, let's go. Doha's smile widened even more, and something about that smile made Julia's stomach twist. It didn't look like a normal smile. It looked too wide, too calm, almost like he was enjoying her fear. But he turned back to the car, opened the door, and sat down without saying anything. Then he started the engine. Okay, he said softly. Let's go. Julia exhaled deeply. Her whole body relaxed a little, though her hands were still shaking. The car moved back onto the main road, away from the forest. Julia kept wiping her forehead quietly. After some minutes, the area changed. The tall trees ended, and beautiful houses and flowers started to appear. The road became wider, cleaner, and more organized. Julia saw a long fountain in the center of the street, beautiful lights around it, and guards standing near the gate of a large estate. Doha drove into the estate confidently. Julia's eyes widened. Where is this place?" she whispered. Doha didn't answer. He just drove forward until they reached a beautiful house, more beautiful than any house Julia had ever seen with her eyes. The house looked like something from a movie. White walls, large glass windows, golden lights, tall pillars, a garden that looked like paradise. Julia covered her mouth with both hands. Doha parked in front of the building. For a moment, the world felt quiet. The only sound Julia heard was her own fast breathing. Doha stepped out and walked to Julia's side. He opened her door with a soft smile. "Come," he said. Julia stepped out slowly, still staring at the building like she was dreaming. "It's so beautiful," she whispered. Doha nodded. "Yes." Then he reached into his pocket and brought out a small key holder. He held it toward her. "These," he said gently, "are the keys." Julia froze. "The keys?" She looked at him, surprised. What do you mean?" "Keys for what?" Doha stretched the keys closer. "This is your house now," he said. Julia's mouth dropped open. My house?" she asked, pointing to herself. Doha nodded with a calm smile. "I bought it for you." Julia screamed excitedly before she could control herself. She ran and jumped on him, wrapping her arms around his neck. "Oh my God!" she shouted. "This is why I love you. You care for me too much." Doha didn't react much. He simply held her waist gently and smiled, a very slow smile. Julia pulled back and looked at the house again. She ran to the gate, ran back, then ran to the door, then back to Doha, completely overwhelmed. She kept shouting, "This is mine? This is mine? For me?" Doha nodded quietly. Julia hugged him again, but she didn't see the look on his face when she turned away. His smile slowly faded. His eyes changed for 1 second. Just 1 second. A cold, sharp look passed through them. Then he blinked, and the look disappeared. He returned to normal. Julia was too busy celebrating to notice anything. She held the keys tightly and kept running around the compound with joy. Doha simply watched her, silent, observing, waiting. Julia finally stopped and leaned on the car, breathing hard from excitement. "Thank you, Doha," she said softly. "Thank you for loving me." "Any tours?" Doha smiled faintly. "You deserve everything," he said. But there was something else in his smile. Something hidden. Something that Julia did not see. Not yet. The next morning came slowly. Soft sunlight entered through the wide glass windows of Julia's beautiful new house. Birds sang outside, and the air felt fresh. But Julia did not feel calm. Her mind was still heavy from everything she had seen the previous night. She sat alone at the dining table with a cup of tea in front of her. She wasn't drinking it. She was only staring into the cup, her face full of quiet worry. The big house felt too silent, too empty. It didn't feel like a normal home. It felt like a place where secrets lived. Her phone suddenly rang, and she jumped a little. It was her mother. Julia breathed in deeply and answered with a small smile in her voice. "Mummy." Her mother's voice was full of joy. "My daughter, my beautiful wife. Congratulations again. I heard about the house. Ah, God has done it for us. I am so proud of you." Julia managed to smile. "Thank you, Mummy." Her mother continued praising and thanking God for minutes. Julia listened quietly, nodding, but inside her heart, her fear stayed untouched. After her mother calmed down, Julia sighed and said softly, "Mummy, I want to tell you something." Her mother immediately became serious. "What is it?" Julia looked around the dining room, even though she was alone. Then she spoke in a quiet voice. "Mummy, yesterday night I saw something strange in the mirror." "What did you see?" her mother asked quickly. Julia swallowed. I saw something that looked like Doha's tail, her mother gasped. Tail? What kind of tail? Julia closed her eyes. A python tail. Long, black. It was moving behind him. There was silence on the phone for a second. Julia continued talking fast. But when I turned to look at him, he was normal. I think maybe it was my eyes. Maybe I was tired or something. Her mother suddenly raised her voice gently, trying to calm the whole matter. Julia, my daughter, don't talk like that again. You hear me? Don't allow strange thoughts into your mind. Mummy, but Listen, her mother interrupted firmly. Doha is a good man, a very good man. He loves you. He takes care of you. He even bought you houses. Do you know how many women are praying for that kind of blessing? Julia nodded slowly. I know, Mommy, her mother continued. The devil can whisper nonsense into someone's mind. The devil wants to destroy good marriages. He will start putting strange ideas in your head, trying to make you fear your own husband. Don't let that happen. Julia wiped her face gently. So, you don't believe me? I believe you are stressed, her mother replied. Maybe you have been thinking too much. Maybe the mirror confused you. But what you think you saw is not real. Don't say such again. Julia nodded weakly. Okay, Mummy. Doha is a blessing, her mother added. Hold him well. Don't let small fears scatter your home. Do you hear me? Yes, Mummy. They spoke for a while longer, normal things, peaceful things, motherly things. Then the call ended. Julia dropped the phone and sat back slowly, her eyes unfocused. Even though her mother spoke with confidence, Julia's heart did not feel settled. The memory of that tale was still sharp, too sharp. Just then, a loud knock came at the door. Knock, knock, knock. Julia stood up quickly and walked to the entrance. When she opened the door, her friend Kemi jumped happily into the house. My wife, Kemi shouted. Owner of a mansion, show me around. Julia laughed a little for the first time that day. She held Kemi's hand and took her around the house, showing her the large living room, the beautiful kitchen, and the wide bedroom with huge mirrors. Kemi was impressed. Julia, this is heaven! You are blessed! Julia smiled softly. But after all the excitement, Kemi suddenly turned serious. Julia, can I ask you something? Julia nodded. Kemi lowered her voice. Does your husband still sleep outside? As in, he still doesn't sleep at home? Julia looked down. Yes, he still goes out every night. He says he works in Ghana. He leaves at night and comes back every morning. Kemi's face twisted in confusion. Every night? Yes. Kemi placed her hand on her waist. Julia, please don't be angry. I know you think I don't like Doha, but I'm saying this because I care for you. Julia looked at her with concern. What is it? Kemi took a deep breath. I think you should conduct a secret investigation. Julia blinked rapidly. Investigation? On who? On your husband, Kemi whispered. Julia's eyes widened. How will I even do that? Kemi leaned closer. Follow him. Use your own car. Don't let him know. When he is leaving the house at night, follow him quietly. See where he is going. See what kind of work he is doing. Julia looked scared and confused. Kemi, I don't know if I can do that. You must, Kemi insisted. Something is not adding up. A man who leaves home every night and returns every morning? A man whose family never appears? Julia, open your eyes. But follow him, Kemi said again. Just once. You will see everything with your own eyes. Julia was quiet for a long time. Then slowly, she nodded. Kemi touched her shoulder. Good. Be careful. They talked for a little while longer, and then Kemi left. Julia remained standing in the living room, alone, thinking deeply. Her heart beat slowly, heavily. She wasn't sure she was ready, but she also felt she needed the truth. Doha arrived. Hours passed. The sun went down. Darkness slowly filled the house. Julia walked to their bedroom window and peeped outside. Doha's car was still in the compound. He was inside the house somewhere, dressing up. Her heart began to beat faster. A few minutes later, she heard his footsteps coming down the stairs. She quickly pretended to be busy arranging things on the table. Doha came out, wearing a dark shirt and black trousers. "I'm going now," he said softly. Julia swallowed. "Okay, safe journey." Doha kissed her forehead and walked out. As soon as the gate opened and Doha drove out into the night, Julia rushed upstairs to change into simple clothes. Her hands were shaking so much that she couldn't button her shirt properly. She grabbed her car key. She turned off all the lights, and quietly, she sneaked out through the back door. She entered her car and waited until she saw Doha's taillights turning at the bend of the street. Then she started her engine slowly, very slowly. She followed him from behind. Her heart was beating louder than the sound of her car. She prayed silently. "Please, God, let nothing happen to me tonight." Because tonight, Julia was about to see the truth, the real truth. Julia continued following Doha that night, her hands shaking on the steering. The road was quiet, the moonlight touching the trees on both sides. Doha's car moved fast, but steady, and Julia kept her eyes on his red taillights. She refused to blink. She refused to look away. She wanted to see where he always disappeared to. But suddenly, vroom! A speeding car overtook her so fast that she screamed and held her steering tightly. Her heart almost jumped out of her chest. By the time she balanced herself and looked forward again, Doha's car was gone. Completely gone. No sound, no light, no turn, no movement, nothing. Julia stepped on her brake and stopped the car right there. Tears of frustration filled her eyes. She hit the steering wheel hard with both hands. "What is happening? Why can't I catch him?" she shouted to herself. After a few minutes of confusion and fear, she turned her car around and drove back home, her mind full of unanswered questions. The next morning, the sun came out early, but Julia felt cold. Her whole body felt weak. As soon as she woke up, she dialed Kemi's number and told her everything. Kemi sighed deeply and said, "Julia, listen to me. We need another plan." "What plan?" Julia asked tiredly. "You have to make him sleep deeply, very deeply. Put sleeping pills in his food tonight, very strong ones." Julia's eyes widened. "Sleeping pills?" "Yes," Kemi replied. "If you can make him sleep early, it might reveal some things we don't know about. Who knows? Just trust me." Julia thought about it. It sounded dangerous, but she was desperate. She needed the truth. When the call ended, Julia sat quietly on her bed, thinking for a long time. Her hands shook. Her heart beat fast. But at last, she nodded to herself. I must know the truth. That day, Doha arrived, just like always, smiling, acting gentle, acting loving. Julia kept her face straight. She didn't want him to suspect anything. That night, she served him food, hiding her fear behind a small smile. Before serving, she had poured very strong sleeping pills inside. Pills that worked fast. Pills that could make someone sleep in minutes. Doha ate slowly, talking about how his work in Ghana was stressing him. Julia didn't say anything. She only watched him carefully. 5 minutes later, Doha rubbed his eyes. I'm feeling somehow." Julia nodded quickly. "You should rest a bit before you leave." He sat on the couch in the living room, leaned back, and closed his eyes. Within minutes, he slept off. Julia's heart began to beat so loud that she felt it in her ears. She walked to the bathroom and took a short shower to calm herself. She stayed under the water for a long time, breathing deeply. But when she returned to the living room, she froze. Her breath died in her chest. Her eyes grew big, like she was seeing something from another world. Doha was lying on the couch, But he was not fully human anymore. A very long, thick, dark python tail stretched out of his clothes. It touched the floor. It moved slowly. It glistened under the light. Julia's mouth opened wide, and then she screamed. She screamed with everything inside her. She screamed so loud that the entire estate could hear. She didn't think. She didn't breathe. She didn't look back. She ran. She ran out of the house barefoot, tears pouring down her face. She ran past cars, past gardens, past everything. She ran until she reached the estate gate. The security men grabbed her, thinking something terrible had happened. "What is it? Madam, what happened?" they asked, trying to hold her steady. Julia could not speak. She could only point toward her house, shaking violently. The security men looked at her, confused. They didn't know what she had seen or why she was crying that way. They tried calling Doha, but his number was suddenly not available. 3 of them rushed to her apartment. They searched everywhere, but they found nothing. No tail, no movement, no sign of Doha. Just an empty house. Even his car had disappeared. Julia sat on the ground at the gate, crying silently. She felt her whole world crumble. When she finally calmed a little, she called her mother. Early the next morning, her parents came. They held her like a child and brought her back to the house. Julia refused to enter at first, but her father gently encouraged her. Inside, everything looked normal, as if nothing strange had ever happened. Her parents looked around and sighed. "Julia, are you sure you saw what you said you saw?" her mother asked softly. Julia looked at her mother with red eyes. "I know what I saw." But they didn't believe her. They thought maybe she was stressed, or maybe she had imagined it. Julia walked into the bedroom, removed her wedding ring with shaking fingers, and placed it gently on the bed. "I'm not staying here again," she whispered. Her parents nodded and took her out. They locked the door, and Julia walked away without looking back. Doha never returned. He never called. His number stayed, switched off. His car was never seen again, and nobody ever found him. Julia's life continued, but she never forgot the night she saw the truth. Be careful with people who enter your life suddenly and too perfectly. Not every glittering thing is good. Not every expensive gift comes from a clean place. Take your time to know people before you commit your life to them. A fast relationship can hide slow dangers. True love grows. It does not rush, and it never comes with secrets in the night. Please share, like, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We have another beautiful story coming your way. Thank you so much for watching. And where are you watching from?